Good day, everyone. I'm Miss Janin Borre, and I'll be presenting my study entitled Teaching Biology Using Contextualized Learning Kit. To give you an overview of this research, students learn better if they have student-friendly reading material and performed hands-on and minds-on activities. And also, integrating flipped classroom methodology helped the teacher facilitate the class well, and the students have more time doing student-centered activities that helped deepen their comprehension. According to Gardner in 1999, although we all receive these intelligences as part of our birthright, no two people have exactly the same intelligences and the same combinations. In this respect, learners differ in many ways. Some are fast and slow learners. However, this doesn't mean that slow learners are non-learners. That is why, according to the research of Borre in 2011, there is a need to contextualize the lesson, to engage students in class discussions and activities, deepen content learning, and promote transfer of skill. And researchers have been conducting the flipped classroom as a teaching method. The teachers gave educational materials for the students to study at home, and during class hours, they talked about it, and student centered activities were given to students which are related to that educational materials. And the 21st century skills development are communication, critical thinking, collaboration, and creativity are very important or crucial in the success of the student's academic performance. According to the research of Clark in 2006, students preferred visual and verbal presentations of the lesson. Hence, in this study, I made highly visual and highly conversational instructional material. To identify the two groups, I disseminated the validated pretest to four sections in grade 8 handled by the teacher implementer. The results of each section were subjected to independent sample t-test to determine the two groups whose score had no significant difference. This means that the ability of two groups are almost the same or equally the same. Then, the two groups having no significant difference were randomly assigned by tossing a coin to determine the experimental and control group. The study utilized the pre-test, post-test quasi-experimental design to test the effects of the five developed lessons in biology using the contextualized learning kit on the grade 8 students' conceptual understanding. The letter X represents the treatment. The treatment is the contextualized learning kit or the CLK that I made, which was given to the experimental group. The pretest and post-test scores, level of acceptability, and attitude survey responses were analyzed quantitatively, while the student's journal, focus group discussion or FGD, and remarks on the observation sheet were analyzed qualitatively. These are the steps in the study. The first is the development of the lessons and the CLK. Next, the pre-test and the attitude survey were given before the implementation. Then, during the implementation, in the experimental group, the out-of-class activities where there is the integration of flipped classroom methodology and the activities were studying the CLK. This was given 2 days or a day before the lesson, and then the students answered the formative assessment individually. The in-class activities were the checking of formative assessment. The class time was maximized to student-centered activities where the teacher served as a facilitator and gave input after class activities to deepen students' knowledge. While the comparison group was observed in a natural classroom setting where the teacher referred to the teacher's guide for graded biology for their discussion and class activities, and students used their learner's module. Both groups were observed by the researcher and the two science teachers. For the post assessment, the conceptual understanding and attitude towards biology were given to two groups. The level of acceptability of the CLK was rated by the students after the research implementation. For the 21st century skills was rated by the teacher observers during the collaborative activity, and the insights were documented from the answers of the teacher implementer during the interview, from the observation remarks of the teacher observers, and the journal of the students. The first statement of the problem is what lessons in biology may be developed using the Contextualized Learning Kit or CLK with the following features: flipped classroom mode of delivery, use of student-friendly contextualized learning kit, 21st century skills development, and highly visual instructional material. To identify the lessons, the science teachers who specialized and teach in biology ranked the first half most difficult learning competencies in biology using the survey on teachers' perception of grade 8 students' level of difficulty in biology. The second question is, what is the level of acceptability of the contextualized learning kit among students? The level of acceptability questionnaire for the CLK was given after the implementation of the 5 developed lesson in biology. The level of acceptability questionnaire was only given to the experimental group because this group used the CLK. The CLK was rated by the students using the 5-point Likert scale. And the findings, the level of acceptability of the CLK has an overall weighted mean of 4.05, which is interpreted as positive. Okay, this is an example of the CLK about the lesson in ecosystem. These are the places we go during summer, like in Kawakawa, Sumlang Lake, Linyon Hill for fresh air. On the other illustration, we go to beaches, and Filipinos love food trips. But sometimes we tend to ignore the other important things that keep us really alive, not just in these moments, but in our day to day lives. So, this is where the contextualization comes in, using localized and familiar examples. But the main lesson here is about the oxygen for breathing, water to keep us hydrated, and nitrogen that provides proteins in our food. Okay, the third question is, what is the effect of the contextualized learning kit in biology in terms of conceptual understanding of biology concepts, 21st century skills development, and attitude towards biology? And these are the findings. Conceptual understanding of biology concepts was enhanced in the experimental group than the control group. The 21st century skills, namely communication, collaboration, critical thinking, and creativity, had ratings that generally fall between excellent and good. The results of the attitude towards biology had a positive rating in the experimental group than the control group. This is the comparison of the effects in the conceptual understanding tests of two groups. For the experimental group, the p-value is lesser than the alpha level of 0.05, the effect size is 1.75, and it is interpreted as huge effect, while the p-value of the control group is greater than the alpha level of 0.05. The effect size is 0.19, and it is interpreted as small effect. This is the comparison of the effects in the attitude of two groups towards biology. The post-test results of both groups are statistically significant but with minimal mean difference since the lesson implementation only happened for a short period of time. According to the research of Antupina in 2016, attitude changes in students takes time to develop. Okay, the last statement of the problem is what insights in learning and teaching can be derived from the use of contextualized learning kit in biology? The research instruments used are observation sheet and focus group discussion guide. Observation sheet was used by the researcher and the teacher observers while observing the actual in-class implementation of the developed lesson using the CLK, while the focus group discussion guide was used to conduct a post-implementation interview in a semi-structured format among the teachers and students who participated in the study. According to the responses, the students learn more if the presentation of the instructional materials is easy to read and understand. Hands-on and minds-on activities improved the retention of the concepts. Having colorful pictures and diagrams in reading material made it more attractive and motivating to read. It helps students to visualize what they are reading. The CLK is a helpful tool not just for teachers but also for students. Through this tool, the teaching and delivery of the lesson was made fun and easy for both teachers and students. With this, teachers should be given an allotted time to make their own or with their co-teachers a reading material that have suitable features that can help solve the observed problem in their students. Constructivist approach should be employed by teachers to help students engage in solving problem-based activities and to develop their social skills. Thank you so much for listening.